Getting passed over for a promotion really stings. I've been there. Even when we tell ourselves not to take it personally, even when you know you're still qualified, it still hits. And what most people do next is what actually hurts their career. And today I'm going to walk you through exactly what to do when you're passed over so you don't spiral, burn bridges, or quietly get written off. I'm Courtney O'Connell, and I'm a former senior vice president and head of HR in the Fortune 500 space. And I've not only been passed over for a promotion myself in my climb from admin assistant to SVP, but I have sat with executive teams with a front row seat to how professionals deal with rejection. And it matters more than some people think. So, first, let's start with what not to do when you're passed over for a promotion. Do not act before you think. Take some time, sleep on it. Calmer heads always prevail. Don't withdraw. You don't want to disappear and have people wondering if you're okay. You don't want to become visibly bitter and say anything disrespectful about the manager or about the person who got the role, even in anger. You don't want to over explain your value and why you're better than the person who got it. And you don't want to assume that this was just politics and check out. You need to stay curious. Don't lobby or argue with the person delivering the news. But here's what you should do. Do recognize that emotions are normal at every level. You may feel sad, disappointed, shame, or embarrassment. It's all normal. So feel the feelings and then try to move past them. Do support the person who got that job. This shows your professional maturity. And do take a long-term perspective. Continue to do well in your role and increase your network. Remember, senior leaders are noticing how you respond to disappointment. Your reaction is going to become part of your leadership profile. Being passed over is not a verdict, it's a signal. It means one of three things. One, you weren't seen as ready yet. Two, someone else was seen as lower risk than you. Or three, the role simply required something different than what you are currently signaling. So notice what's missing here. It does not automatically mean that you aren't capable. Promotion decisions are about perception, timing, and trust, not about fairness. One of your first steps after being passed over for a promotion is to gather feedback. Your first move needs to be a conversation, but not the one most people have. This is not, why didn't I get it? Or what do I need to improve on? Those questions invite very vague feedback from your manager and from HR. Instead, I want you to ask for decision level insight. Try this. I want to understand how readiness was evaluated for this role and where I landed relative to that. Then, what specifically would need to develop for me to be a clear yes next time? You're not asking for reassurance here. You're asking for criteria, and you're after constructive feedback. What are your blind spots? You need to be fully self-aware to make the bridge between middle management and the executive level. Do not get defensive. Often the feedback is about your soft skills, and these are less measurable and less obvious. So you really need to understand the subtle ways you're coming across so that you can actually work on it. Ask your boss how you can work together to improve in those areas that you got feedback around. Remember, self-awareness is knowing what to say and when, and political awareness is understanding how that's being perceived. Step 2. Here's where people get really stuck. Like I said, the feedback can often be abstract. You need to be more strategic, broader presence. You need more visibility. Those are not instructions, they're symptoms. Your job is to translate them into observable behaviors. So ask follow-up questions like, what would that look like in meetings? Where would you expect to see that show up? Who would need to notice the difference? Remember, executives don't promote intention, they promote the evidence. And step 3, audit your current positioning. Now comes the honest part. You need to ask yourself, am I seen as an executor or a decision maker? Do leaders come to me with problems or with updates? Is my work visible beyond my direct manager? Do I speak in outcomes or in activities? And if your answers skew tactical, you weren't passed over because you're weak. You were likely passed over because your positioning does not match the role. Now it's time to create a reset for yourself. And this is critical, and almost no one does it. You don't quietly work on feedback. You have to signal your evolution. So here are some examples. Take ownership of a cross-functional initiative. Change how you speak in leadership meetings, framing work in terms of trade-offs and impact. Be seen as navigating ambiguity, not just executing. Remember, promotions don't happen in private. They happen when enough people agree something has shifted. And here's a hard truth. Sometimes the feedback is honest. Sometimes it's a stall tactic. So ask yourself, is there a real timeline? Are there real opportunities to demonstrate readiness? Is anyone actively advocating for me? If the answers are vague, your job isn't just to wait. It's to expand your options internally or externally. So consider if it's time to go, and ask yourself why the promotion is so important to you right now. What is your motivation? This is going to drive your decision-making process. And I want you to also engage with your HR business partner and your leadership team. Because if you want to stay, you've got to understand how you can contribute in a more meaningful way. Otherwise, it's time to start working that external network to prime the pump on an external search. And it's not quitting, it's leadership. Being passed over doesn't define your ceiling, but how you respond to it absolutely does. Senior leaders are not people who never face disappointment, but they are people who convert setbacks into leverage. If this resonates, subscribe, and I'll keep breaking down the no BS information about how promotions actually work.